What if everything you thought you knew about one of America's most beloved TV personalities was nothing more than smoke and mirrors? Imagine tuning in each week to watch the wisecracking, deal-making Rick Harrison at Gold and Silver Pawn, only to discover, years later, that the laughs, the haggling, the heartwarming family moments were all a carefully orchestrated cover for a chilling secret. Picture the History Channel's shining star not as a shrewd businessman, but as the mastermind behind a shadowy network that thrived on deception and left a trail of broken lives in its wake. Could someone who spent years teaching America about hidden treasures have been hiding his darkest secrets in plain sight all along? Before we dig deeper into the labyrinth that is Rick Harrison's double life, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. You won't want to miss the bombshells still to come. In a single thunderous afternoon, the world flipped upside down for millions of Pawn Stars fans. It started with a flash. News broke that Rick Harrison, America's favorite negotiator, had been apprehended in a jaw-dropping sting operation. But this wasn't your typical celebrity scandal. No rehab stint, no tax evasion, no headline-grabbing divorce. This was something far more sinister. As the nation watched, Rick, once the face of family-friendly reality TV, became the centerpiece of a case that threatened to tear down the very empire he'd spent decades building. How did Rick go from TV icon to public enemy overnight? How many secrets did he bury behind that ever-present smirk? Outside the Las Vegas courthouse, reporters jostled for position, their voices trembling as they relayed every update. Was this the same man who'd charmed America for over a decade? Or had everyone been fooled by a master manipulator? The arrest footage made its way to every screen, Rick shackled and glassy-eyed, making a desperate dash for the exit, only to be wrestled down by federal agents. In the chaos, he muttered something that would haunt everyone who heard it. "If they find out everything, I'm finished." But who were they? And what secrets was Rick so desperate to keep locked away? As the investigation unfolded, new shocks emerged almost hourly. Hidden vaults, untraceable wire transfers, whispered allegations of exploitation that stretched from Vegas backrooms to offshore havens. Was Rick Harrison acting alone? Or was he merely the face of a sprawling network? Anonymous sources began to paint a picture of a man who'd become increasingly paranoid. A man who watched his employees as closely as he watched the merchandise. What exactly happened in those off-limits areas of the pawn shop? And what did Rick's closest allies know about the true nature of his business? To understand the full magnitude of this fall from grace, we have to rewind. Not to the first episode, not even to the day the pawn shop opened, but further. Imagine Rick as a hustling teenager, driven by hardship and ambition, learning to read people as easily as he read price tags. The pawn shop wasn't always a Vegas landmark. Early on, it was a last resort for desperate souls, and Rick learned quickly. Every deal had a story, and sometimes, the most valuable things were the ones people tried hardest to hide. Was it this early exposure to desperation that led Rick down a darker path? Or did the intoxicating allure of success change him over time? As the pawn shop evolved into a television juggernaut, so did Rick's ambitions. He branched into businesses that on the surface looked legitimate: real estate, memorabilia, cryptocurrency. But beneath that glossy exterior, cracks began to show. Why was Rick suddenly surrounded by ex-military security? Why did longtime employees quietly disappear, replaced by nameless faces who never spoke to the press? Each new venture seemed to bring fresh rumors: foreign bank accounts, strange midnight meetings, whispers of intimidation. Could the man America trusted with their family heirlooms have been orchestrating a decades-long con? The night of Rick's arrest, the city pulsed with anticipation. Blacked-out SUVs glided silently into the pawn shop's back alley, federal agents swarming the building before anyone could react. Rick was already gone, racing toward a storage unit filled not with antiques, but with evidence: documents, burner phones, ledgers coded in cryptic shorthand. As he was finally cornered, his only words were, "You'll never prove it all." But what was it all? And how deep did the rabbit hole go? In the days that followed, Las Vegas became ground zero for a media frenzy. Fans gathered outside the courthouse, some in disbelief, others convinced this was all an elaborate setup. Yet, As more witnesses came forward and more evidence surfaced, the myth of Rick Harrison as a lovable everyman began to crumble. Was this an elaborate frame job? Or had America's favorite pawnbroker been living a lie from the start? And what about his family? Were they complicit? Or were they victims of the same deception? In the end, the story of Rick Harrison isn't just about the fall of a celebrity. It's a cautionary tale about how easily we mistake performance for reality, trust for truth. As the trial looms and new revelations threaten to explode, one question remains. Who else was in on the secret? And what will come to light next? Don't miss the next chapter in this unbelievable saga. Hit subscribe now so you're first to know when the truth finally comes out.